June 10th, 2019. Just thought I'd do a quick update here on the farm. I haven't done any farm updates in a while. This section was tilled once in preparation for planting. It needs a retill or two, waiting till after the rain, which is just starting now. Glad we're getting that. We need it. Things are dry. I've been irrigating, but it's nice to have a good soaking rain come in. This is good timing on it. Beefsteak tomatoes are in here in this row. They of course have been given foliar feeds and appropriate trace mineral nutrition and all. There's also holy basil in here in between them all, and those are doing well despite we've had some fairly cool weather. In fact, we had excuse me, we had one 36-degree night last week. The turmeric I brought out of the greenhouse, as well as the almond verbena. Those are doing well. The turmeric actually has to go into either a much larger planter or maybe just directly in the soil. We'll see. I have beets and King Arthur peppers in here. I saved seeds from last year for these King Arthur peppers. Beets came from Johnny Selected Seeds. Obviously they need some serious weeding. But they're doing pretty well considering this rain will help them a lot. Let's see, I put in the first round of sweet potato propagation and ginger as well. They probably got a little bit of an overfeed here. You can see a little bit of burn here because I gave them a feed when I transplanted, and then I did a foliar feed like a couple days later, and I shot them on my way through anyway. I'm sure they'll be okay, but it put a little hurt on them. It was a little much for them as early in their life cycle as it is. These are Roma tomatoes in here. These are all taken off. I got mulch down. These are from the first round and second round of Romas that I started. And then there's a couple that didn't make it through the frost or didn't make it through transplant. And you can see where I've gone through and replaced those with the Italian Redorta. I forget what they're called. Anyway, sweet Thai basil row right next to those. These guys here, they're getting established. They also struggle through the cold a little bit. That's jalapeno peppers there in the middle of this row, and then rosemary on the right, and Hawaiian orange marigold on the left. And of course we have a rooster crowing competition here, as we do every day, all day. There's 3 rows in here. A row of large leaf basil, a row of sweet Thai basil, and a row of cumin direct sown in here. And in here, this tilled band that I raked out is large leaf basil that I seeded in a just wide band, and you can see those are popping up all over the place, so those are doing well. This was the next planting of Roma tomatoes. This is that San Marzano Redorta that I got from the Italian seed company. Those are doing well. 1 or 2 of those didn't make it. I've replaced them also. And then I probably will put a 3rd planting in here, and then I can give you a comparison of starting tomatoes from seed direct in the soil yield versus starting them in the greenhouse and transplanting them, and the shock that the transplant has and the effect, the negative effect that that has on yield. I just listened to an excellent talk from John Kemp from the Northeastern Organic Farmers Association, NOFA Mass, and he talks about that. He's talked about it in other stuff, but it was a good reminder for me. Anyway, moving along, these are delicata squash in here. They took a little bit of shock on the transplant also, but they are perking back up. They also have had foliar feeds and drenches and that sort of thing. And I went back between these and I put a couple of nasturtiums in between to help keep squash bugs and that kind of stuff out. They are Red Empress of India nasturtiums, so those should be beautiful when they come up and get rolling. Alright, let's take a look down here quick. Been trying to focus more on doing a little bit smaller areas and doing a little better quality of growth. So this year things are planted a little different and managed a little different. I have to reclaim the section over there back from weeds and that sort of stuff, but I'll get to that. I wanted to get other crops established and rolling. And garlic is doing well over there. We'll go over there in a minute. This I just re-tilled today just to wipe weeds back again and break soil up a little bit more. This was just planted not last night but the night before. Two different types of corn, bodacious, F1 hybrid sweet corn, and double standard sweet corn from Johnny Selected Seeds. That's an open pollinated heirloom variety. I'll be curious to see how they compare. I think the bodacious is an SE, sugar enhanced, and I think the double standard is an SU variety of corn. There's also 2 rows of delicata squash direct sown in here, and I'll come back and I'll cover crop that with either buckwheat or maybe some sweet clover or something like that. On the edge here there's a 5-foot strip between these 2 blocks. This is the previous block. And in here there's 2 rows of mammoth gray stripe sunflowers, and then this is cover cropped both with borage and sweet clover pretty heavily. So we'll be building soils and supplying flowers to the bees at the same time while we're growing crops in here. Always trying to preserve and enhance biology in soils. In here this is bodacious sweet corn, 4 rows here. And there's 5 rows of the double standard sweet corn from Johnny's here. There's a row of borage down the middle here. I think you can see the borage popping up amongst the weeds. And then this is the rest of those delicata squash that were started in the greenhouse. And they're really starting to take off now that they've been established and had some good feeds in place. I guess we'll go over and take a look at the garlic real quick. And we'll go from there. I guess real quick I'll zoom you into the apple tree from a ways away. Like I said in previous videos, that was pruned 2 falls ago, and it's been fed with foliar feeds and drenches, and I did put down some wood chip mulch, and that tree has really recovered well, and it's got a nice dense canopy, lots of apples growing on it, and I've given it a few foliar feeds so far this year, and I'll continue to support its health with foliar feeds throughout the season. Hopefully we'll get a better yield and a better growing season this year than last year. Last year we had hot and dry right into the middle of July, and then when we finally did get the rain, it just went to rain, and it rained and rained and rained up through the end of November, early December when it switched to snow. So it was a weird season last year, so hopefully this year will be better. Garlic is doing good in here, and wood chips. I did not get this in the fall like I wanted to, so this was spring planted garlic. I'm hoping it'll still do okay. I've given it a few foliar feeds, and it seems to be doing pretty well overall. We'll see how it all comes out. I will point out though that these 3 rows here are the German white garlic. That'll be 3 generations of that in the high nutrition system with foliar feeds, and you can see there is a massive difference in vigor and health of those plants when you compare them against the others. Of course these are other varieties. Over here on the left is Red Russian, and then on the right is a row split of Spanish Roja and Vietnamese, but still massive difference in the stuff that's been in high nutrition for a couple of years. Nothing planted over here yet. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this yet. This fence is fairly ineffective at keeping woodchucks out, so I think I'm going to pull the plastic fence out of here, and I might look to re-fence this with a good steel fence maybe next year when the budget allows. But for now I'm going to pull this stuff out, and this will just be open in here, which is part of the reason I put garlic and other non-deer and woodchuck susceptible crops in here. These are green bunching onions that my friend Steve actually bought the seeds for last year, and I put them in and they wintered over, and now we have flowers. Well, flowers are going by actually, and now we're developing seed here, and so these will be excellent seed source to replant. We'll have lots of them. Not all of them survived the winter. We had a pretty cold winter, and I didn't have a good insulative type mulch on. The mulch that I put on was grass mulch, and that stuff packs down pretty thin and therefore isn't very good from an insulating properties standpoint. So some of these didn't make it, but the ones that did are robust and vigorous and healthy, and we'll have thousands and thousands of seeds from them, so that's excellent. And of course you'll notice I leave the occasional yarrow when I find them in here. These are just a beautiful plant. Excellent soil builders. And I love the smell of them. I love the look of them. And I'm also a cigarette smoker. I also like to smoke some yarrow once in a while. It's a really nice, smooth flavored smoke, and calming, relaxing. If you've never tried it and you're a smoker, I recommend you try some yarrow. It's excellent stuff. And then, let's see, I had 3 or 4 rows of King Richard leeks in here. I was hoping these would winter over better, but again, that mulch, that thin mulch layer didn't cut it as far as protecting them as well as they should have through such a cold winter we had, and so they didn't. But the one that did survive is getting ready to open up into flower soon, and when it does, that'll give me another round of seed. That'll be generation 3 under a high trace mineral nutrition program, so those should be some very vigorous leek seeds when they do open out. So that's this section. The rest of this has not been planted yet. I've been kind of focused on the other stuff and getting those planted, established, and fed, and inoculated, and soils tilled, and irrigation, and that kind of thing. So that's just a quick update here. I guess I'll take you up to the new Ram Reservoir. We'll look at that quick, and then I think that concludes the farm tour for the most part. I think Rooster had something to say too, so we'll let him get his 2 cents in. Go ahead, tell him what you gotta say. What, you're all camera shy now? Come on, you had so much to say before. What happened? I thought so. Okay, you got your 2 cents in. I guess I'll just point out real quick that the white clover that I've been propagating all over the farm here is really out in full flower. And I was expecting to see more honeybees in it, but I haven't seen them in it as of yet. But they are drawing in pollen and nectar. So I don't know what resources they're pulling from, but it's not clover yet. But anyway, the propagation of this is going well, so that's exciting. And that's helping build nitrogen in these soils. Okay, I know I just did a beehive update video today, but I'll just give you a quick shot of them. The bees are out foraging here late afternoon, doing their thing, happy and healthy. And you'll notice that the entrance restrictor is out of that right-hand hive. There's a lot less traffic jam going on there, so that's good. Alright, and I guess that brings us to the new Ram Reservoir, which is working out great. That pushes my total high pressure capacity to around 400 gallons, and that's working well. The line coming out of the top basically just forces elevation high enough so that overflow comes out of the barn and goes to the pool as per design spec. Other than that, not much to comment on that, other than that it works great, and it's nice having lots of extra water in reserve when you need it. I think that's all for now. Just a quick update for my viewers who like to see what's going on around the farm. Hope you found this interesting, and hope you'll like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks for watching the Pharmacy Seeds Network.